The movie begins with Joel, 6 days after the death of Rose, from whom he received the smile curse. As time draws closer to the end, since no one has survived more than a week, he comes up with a plan as a last chance, during which he has a vision of Rose burning in flames. He stops a man who has just arrived by car and takes him hostage into a house. Inside, there is another man, and Joel's plan is to kill the hostage and transfer the trauma onto him, as he has chosen a bad guy for this rather than an innocent person. A shootout begins and they injure each other, where the bad guy receives the curse but dies, meaning the curse returns to Joel. However, it turns out that there is someone else present. His name is Lewis, and now he will inherit the curse due to the trauma, during which he sees someone in death, and Joel feels sorry for him. After he gets rid of the curse, he goes outside, but the rest of the gang finds him and sees him. He quickly runs back inside, shuts the door, and escapes through a window as they shoot at him. On his way out, a car hits him, and he dies. Now we meet Skye Riley, a singer who had a car accident last year in which her boyfriend Paul, who was an actor, died, and this is her first public appearance since then. She announces new tour dates and says that before the accident, she dealt with a lot of pressure and stress from work using drugs and alcohol as distractions. So she now apologizes to everyone. After the interview, she takes the opportunity to reconnect with the audience. Her mother, Elizabeth, and Joshua always accompany her. Her mother, as her manager, is in charge of the tour and puts pressure on Skye to make everything right. Skye goes to a rehearsal and practices a dance routine with her team but feels a sharp pain in her back that limits her movements. She has pills to prevent severe back pain, but while taking one, someone rings the doorbell and the pills fall into the void. Her mother calls her to come home, and since she is in pain and has no more pills, she texts Lewis because no one will prescribe her strong medication due to her history of substance abuse, and Lewis replies that she can come. She heads to her apartment while her mother is gone, and then secretly goes to Lewis, who greets her nicely with a sword to her throat, and doesn't remember sending any message. He says he has had the worst week ever, and goes to get pills for Skye, but returning screaming and asking where she just came from, looking up in fear as he starts to choke and silence falls around them. Suddenly, he begins to laugh and looks at Skye while picking up a weight from the floor, hitting his face multiple times until he falls down. As someone who was present when Lewis died, the smile entity transfers from Lewis to her, which the next scene shows as her world flips upside down. She returns home and drinks a whole bottle of water, after which she notices part of her hair is falling out while she brushes it. Then she lies down in bed, and it seems she is hallucinating someone. The chaos in her head intertwines with preparations for the tour, where she is now going for a photo shoot. Her mother tells her to reconnect with Gemma, Skye's best friend, who can help her with her mental health. Darius enters and offers her a chance to be a fundraising presenter tomorrow, where she just has to read a script from a teleprompter, and it will be easy. After this, there is a photo shoot, after which she considers sending Gemma a message. But at that moment, she receives a message from one of the unknown contacts, asking if she was at Lewis's place last night, after which he appears in the mirror as an illusion behind her, mimicking her moves and placing his hands on her, making her laugh. Her team enters and says they knocked, but she didn't hear anything, blaming it on a spider being the reason for that lie. Skye expresses her wardrobe issue, revealing her scar from the accident, and she doesn't want to wear this, while her mother thinks it's the best outfit yet. Skye meets with her fans, where she signs autographs and takes photos with them. A creepy fan approaches her, and after she gives him an autograph, he gets close while they're taking a picture saying he can make her happy. Security arrives and escorts him away. She takes a short break, and her mother approaches her with water. She returns to finish this quickly, and the next fan is a little girl who smiles like the smile entity does to its victims. The girl is seen by everyone, including the bodyguard, Joshua, who is taking pictures, and her mother, which means she exists, while only Skye sees the creepy smile. She goes home and calls Gemma, who is unavailable, so Skye leaves a voice message apologizing to her. Right after, Gemma calls her back and Skye invites her over, with Gemma saying she'll be there in 45 minutes. While waiting for her friend, Skye opens her journal and starts playing the piano and singing until she hears glass shattering in the background. She gets up to check and sees shattered glass. which surprises her. In the moment of cleaning up this strange mess, she sees the shirt of the creepy fan who attacked her, and as she looks further, she sees the rest of his clothes. Suddenly, part of the lighting goes out, and she sees him chasing her while she runs and opens the door, surprising Gemma. Skye tells her to be quiet, and together they grab a weapon where it's revealed that the clothes aren't there. And Skye says she hasn't been sleeping well and drinks a lot of water because her therapist suggested doing that when overwhelmed. Gemma asks her why she's acting strangely, and Skye confesses that she was at Lewis's place and witnessed his suicide, after which she ran away and didn't tell anyone. Gemma reassures her that she did the right thing because if everyone found out, it would ruin her career. The next scene shows Skye after the accident with her boyfriend who lies dead, waking up from a nightmare. She begins to talk to Gemma, who sleeps next to her and wakes up while smiling at her. Skye jumps in surprise and sees Gemma in the room, realizing it's already the next day, and she is late for rehearsal. Her mother comes in and sees she hasn't even gotten ready yet, not noticing Gemma, who greets her. They leave with her mother, and she apologizes to everyone for being late, after which the rehearsal begins with a new outfit. After some time, Skye feels an injury on her leg that is the same as from the accident, indicating that the smile is using her trauma and attacking her. Skye gets up and complains that someone pushed her, although no one did. She hysterically leaves the stage, and while walking past, she notices Joshua smiling at her as he walks by and heads into the dressing room, which is in chaos. She thinks Joshua did all of this, but she goes back inside and her mother tells her that Joshua has been with her the whole time. She asks Skye if she's using any substances again. Skye denies it and doesn't know what's happening to her, thinking that this tour is a huge mistake. Her mother wants Skye to pull herself together because she now has to go to the foundation as a presenter, and Skye doesn't want to go in this state, but her mother insists because she's made a commitment to Darius and must go. In the next scene, Skye is preparing for the foundation and sends a message to Gemma. While in the meantime, she receives a message from an unknown number that knows her identity. At that moment, she is called to give a speech, and a fly bothers her on her face, prompting her to change her makeup. The audience greets her with applause, and she is ready to read the speech from the teleprompter. However, suddenly the text stops displaying, and Skye doesn't know what to say, so she begins to improvise poorly, expressing her unhappiness and failing to land a single joke, leaving the audience confused. At that moment, the text returns, which she reads, but it is incorrect since it instructs her to announce the deceased actor Paul, who died in an accident, further shocking the audience. Then Paul appears in the background, visible only to her, played by Ray, the son of Jack Nicholson. Skye screams at him and closes her eyes, causing him to disappear. But a moment later, he reappears as a lady approaches from behind and pushes her onto the table in front of the audience. After this awkward situation, her team works on improving the chaos they find themselves in. Skye retreats and sends several messages to Gemma, who doesn't reply, and she receives unknown messages alerting her that she is in danger. She asks who it is, and he sends her a video of Lewis from 4 days ago, which she plays. In the video, Lewis walks and talks about someone watching him and laughing. At that moment, the illusion turns into reality, and Skye drops her phone and looks around to find no one there. Fed up with everything, she decides to meet the unknown person to see what happens next, and he sends her the address for the meeting. Skye puts on a hood to hide her identity from the crowd and meets Morris, who says he found her through Lewis's phone as the last contact before his death. Morris wanted to warn him, but it was already too late. He explains that Lewis did not commit suicide. Instead, there is some spirit or parasite that infects its host through their mind, feeding for at most a week, and then forces the host to kill themselves in front of a witness, who then becomes the new host. Morris knows all this because it killed his brother, and now he wants to destroy this monster. His plan is that the host who bears the smile dies for a moment and then comes back because the parasite cannot survive without the host and will die. Therefore, he wants to technically kill Skye, just to stop her heart briefly while the parasite dies without a host, and then brings her back to the world of the living without the smile entity. He can help her tonight because he is a nurse and has everything ready. But time is running out as she has already been under the parasite's influence for 3 days, which is slowly killing her. Due to the pressure Morris exerts on her, She turns around and is recognized by fans. So she rushes outside, goes to her apartment, drinks water as usual, and starts packing her things. But they drop, and she can't bend down because of her back. Angry, she pulls her hair and throws things around her. She sits on the floor and takes pills, after which she stands up and turns on the light, where a surprise awaits her. Smile appears in multiple forms as her dancing team waits for her. Skye looks at the door, which seemed to be moving further away as she tries to escape, while the team pursues her with flawless choreography. However, they surround her, and there is no way out. It seems that Smile has decided to use all its power to get rid of her within 3 days, as she could potentially find a way out through Morris. They catch her, and Smile takes complete control over her as the scene darkens and she blacks out. Now, she is shown with a boyfriend as they drive, and like a drug addict in the car, they start arguing with her grabbing the wheel as he humiliates her, leading to a car crash. She wakes up in a private clinic. Her mother is beside her and wants her to rest today because tomorrow is the pre-show and doesn't give her the phone she asks for. Skye wants to quit the tour, she doesn't feel ready, while her mother insists on continuing and they get into an argument. Suddenly, her mother transforms into Smile, shatters the mirror, takes a piece of glass and kills herself. Skye frees herself and runs to the door, only to see the glass in her own hand and all the blood on her. She goes back and sees her mother wounded. Refusing to believe this is reality, she hits herself in the face to wake up, and Joshua appears at the door. Skye locks him out and asks him to bring her soda while she gets dressed, taking her phone and covering her mother's body. She exits with a hood over her head and notices many people blocking her path to the exit. She gives herself a chance, but halfway, Joshua stops her and calls the doctor after noticing blood on her. While they hold her, she attracts the attention of a security guard, who she steals a gun from as she runs outside and accidentally stepping on glass and injuring herself. But Gemma spots her, and Skye is determined to steal a car to find a way out. Gemma offers to drive because Skye is injured. Meanwhile, Skye texts Morris that she has decided to end this, and he sends her the address. Skye believes she doesn't deserve her friendship, wanting Gemma to stop to avoid getting into trouble, but Gemma stays with her. However, she now receives a call from Gemma, raising her suspicion about who is with her. Gemma says she hasn't been to her apartment, and they haven't seen each other in a year since their argument. Skye turns around slowly and sees it is Smile beside her, fighting against it by saying it's just in her head as she takes control of the wheel, causing a traffic jam. Then successfully goes to Morris where Skye hands him the gun, asking him to kill her if things go wrong. He takes her to an abandoned Pizza Hut and wants to put her in a freezer to let her die. Hopefully, Smile will die, and then he will bring her back. He gives her clean clothes because the previous ones are stained with blood and shows her the injection that will do the job. Morris tells her to lie down and leaves, but he doesn't return. Skye looks around and suddenly notices blood coming from the ceiling, which is from Smile above, taking on Skye's shape after her accident. She unties herself and falls into her. Smile tells her that Morris can't help her anymore, and Skye injects herself in the neck but realizes nothing happens, and the injection disappears while Smile declares this isn't reality and that it is in control, wishing her luck at the concert where Skye now finds herself. And shaken by everything, she doesn't know what is happening. She sees the audience around her, as well as her mother who is alive, meaning that the previous events in the hospital where she killed her, as well as the encounter with Morris afterward, were all in her head while she was blacked out after being defeated by the dance crew, allowing Smile to take complete control over her and leaving her in autopilot mode. Also, Gemma has been an illusion all along, and they haven't seen each other because it was confirmed in the end by the phone call. And in the apartment, we can see that her mother hadn't even noticed Gemma while waiting for Skye, indicating that it was Smile that only Skye could see. This parasite is a spirit with a smile and no physical form that manipulates its victims' minds with hallucinations and visions. Smile poses as Gemma and acts as a monster at night, so that Skye thinks Gemma was real and still sane, making it easier for Smile to win the fight in her mind and ultimately defeat her when Skye realizes that everything she thought she was doing against Smile to defeat it was merely in her head. Smile creates people solely from her mind, so at least one meeting is needed before trustworthy hallucinations occur, as Smile uses people they trust the most, namely Gemma and Morris. During the first meeting, Morris was real and explained how to defeat this parasite. However, she didn't listen, and as the third day passes without using her chance, it has become too late for her. Back in the apartment, Smile understood that Morris posed a threat and took complete control over Skye, after which she blacked out, leaving everything after that as autopilot and illusion. The events in the hospital with her mother, as well as Gemma and Morris with the second meeting, was just an illusion that Smile used to break Skye even further, leading her into despair and defeat. After this illusion, Smile gives control back to Skye over her life and lets her go to the concert, all traumatized and weak for the fight. We now return to the concert where everyone is eagerly waiting for her performance, and across from her, Smile appears in her current form. Smile rips apart her abdomen from a scar and emerges in a much larger and grotesque state, causing Skye to scream and fall to her knees. Smile fully enters her, thus concluding the ordeal, and Skye collapses. Everyone wonders what is happening when at that moment, Skye stands up with a smile that promises the worst. She raises the microphone and plunges it into her own eye, leaving the audience traumatized and ready for Smile to find a new host.